What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time, it's for heroes. So heroes have gotten a lot of support over the past few months, however, none of them say negate. Deck is super fun to play, it's always really good to go back to GX stuff, but at the end of the day, the deck does need negate still. So Konami, if you're watching, I know you're not, this deck really needs a way to, negate, because it has a tough time against, stopping opponents. Unless, you can, in this build, just, pop a bunch of your opponent's shit. But that sometimes doesn't do everything. It's the old Prank Gigs model of blow board. Did you keep going? Okay, I may be lost. But yeah, we'll get into the deck profile for this one. But before we do get started, as always, please remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people to the channel. And let's get on into this deck profile. Before we do get started on this one, though, it is brought to you, of course, by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful NolanTCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code NOLAN10YP for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats down. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we of course have our main starter. It is our 3 copies of Elemental Hero Stratos. We did sell one of the ultis. It got to a price where it was too high for me to consider getting the other 2, so we've sold an ulti, replaced it with another DT, so now we're going for the playset. DT is pretty nice though, I like DT Stratos. Of course, adds any hero from your deck to your hand. Pretty much is just here for ultimate consistency. Number 2, for the rest of our heroes, we have some one-offs. So we've got 1 copy of Shadow Mist. Helps us get through to our Dark Law, also just gives you the generic ad. 1 copy of Liquid Man, he's a free draw, so why not play him in most of the combos? And then we are playing 1 copy of Solid Man, so we're playing 1 Solid Man so that he can combo off with pretty much the other 3 heroes. You go into your Shadow Mist then pops off its ability to search, which is always good. Go into Stratos, net another search, that's always good. If it said second normal summon, then you could use the Liquid Man and combo off, go Liquid Man, Shadow Mist, but it doesn't grant another normal summon, which means it can still trigger your Shadow Mist, which is not too bad at the end of the day. You can consider playing this at 3, but this deck really needs cards in that aren't hero cards to help stop the opponent, so that's the reason why we're just on 1 copy of Solid Man. Last of our Elemental Heroes is the last of our one-offs here. It's 1 copy of Elemental Hero Honest Neos, just here for that buff. Also gives you another level 5 or higher hero in your deck, so that you can not necessarily brick if you don't have a card to send off your Fusion Destiny. Speaking of card you can send off your Fusion Destiny, it is our 1 copy of Destiny Hero Plasma, also a Walking Skill Drains, which is the reason why we're playing both of these cards. You can either go into your Walking Skill Drain, or you can just have the Honest. We aren't playing Dasher in this list. It is something I strongly considered, but at the end of the day, I chose not to put it in. Then for our other Destiny heroes, we have 1 copy of Celestial. A perfectly cuttable card. I just find that the draw comes up way too much to just completely ignore it. And then we have our other 1 copy of Destiny Hero Denier, another effect that does come up from time to time. Then, of course, we have the other Destiny Hero card, the final Destiny Hero card, really. It is our 2 copies of Malicious. Of course, it's a free card, so why wouldn't you be playing Malicious? And again, another level 5 or higher that you can send off your Fusion Destiny. Then we have our Evil Hero, so we've got 1 copy of a Dusted Gold coming through next, so that we can get through to our Bane, and then we can blow board. 3 copies of Faris, start our Vision Hero lineup, of course, pretty standard, 3 Faris. 2 copies of Increase come through after that. This is just probably what I would recommend to play in your ratios, 3 Faris, 2 Increase, always better, along with your 3 copies of Vion. You can trim Vion down to 2 if you do want to find more space, but I find it comfortable because Vion also does work as a starter in some lines of play. And then lastly, this is the hand trap of choice that we've gone for in the main deck. It's 2 copies of Nibiru. We need to essentially have a hand trap that ends the opponent's turn, and this ends a lot of opponents' turns at the moment. Yes, if they're a good player, if they're open well, they will keep playing, but their board won't be as good as it was, and thus leaves it a lot more vulnerable to the hero stuff breaking it. Then we get into our spell cards. The card that is now at 2 almost certainly will be at 3 on the next list. It is 2 copies of A Hero Lives. Paying half your life points does hurt when it's cost, and if you get ashed, it's kind of sucky. But at the end of the day, you're just going full combo if you resolve it, so why wouldn't you be playing the card? Next off, 3 copies of our Generic Searcher is effectively any card in the deck. It is 3 copies of Emergency Call. Then we have 3 copies of Mask Change coming through after that. Of course, we want to play this at 3, max it out so we can get into our Dark Lore, because again, a card that shuts down a lot of decks at the moment in the meta. Doesn't stop Flundereese, but you do still get that free rip whenever they search. Then we have 3 copies of... Sorry, not 3 copies. That's not a thing anymore. That's not where this legally is played. We have 2 copies of Fusion Destiny coming through after that. Just mainly for setting up our DPE. Then for our one-offs, our one-off fusion spells, we have 1 copy of Poly, searchable of Vion, 1 copy of Miracle Fusion, and 1 copy of Dark Calling. So these are essentially just what we're using to get into our different hero fusions that we may need. And then lastly, again, every card in the deck, it's 1 copy of Reinforcements of the Army. And then the next card is the final choice for the main deck. Again, a card that I opted to have in for when we're going first. You necessarily do need a way to stop the opponent with something that says negate. So we've gone for 3 copies of Solemn Judgment to round out the main deck. Okay, now we get into the extra deck. And weirdly, the extra deck in this deck has a lot of space, yet no space at the same time. It's really, really weird. Like, once you start making tech choices, you run out of room really quickly. So we'll go through the extra deck. Starting us off, we do have the 1 copy of Extra Hero Cross Crusader. Essentially, this card is full combo. The only issue is Lock City Heroes. 1 copy of Wonder Diviner. So I use this quite a lot to get through to Mask Change or Fusion Destiny. Just something that you can't get through with the rest of the deck. It's probably the easiest way to do this outside of making Verte, because, hey, you get locked out of Verte with Cross Crusader, which kind of sucks. And then lastly, card that's perfectly cuttable. It's 1 copy of Extra Hero Dread Decimator. This card comes up the least out of probably everything in the extra deck. Then we move on to our fusions. We aren't playing Verte. You can definitely consider playing Verte, but I prefer to go into the... I prefer to use the Wonder Diviner, and then you can just kind of get the searches. Yes, you can't use your change the turn you've used it because you've set it, but hey, it's a quick play, so you just use it next turn. Now we get into our fusions. Sorry. Starting us off, 1 copy of Sunrise. Again, just kind of really, really good for popping off. 1 copy of Absolute Zero. I typically will combo this with the Sunrise, and if you can get into a change, you can then spin this off for a card that we have coming later. Covers you again for like board destruction on the opponent's turn. You can also weirdly use the DPE to pop Absolute Zero. So you can go like DPE, Absolute Zero, and like a back row, and then it like nukes their board. It's rather cute, but that comes up nowhere near as much as you think it would, because your opponent's not really going to set a card mid-combo, and then still have like a full board while they're mid-comboing, unless they're playing like Dangers or something, at which point they're just going to keep playing after you blow their board, so you need to be very, very careful with when you're using that. The other Destiny hero we're playing in the extra deck, it's Dystopia, another card, perfectly cuttable. Like I said earlier, there's tons of room in this extra deck, but once you start making tech choices, you run out really quickly. And then we have 1 Vision Hero Trinity, just here for pushing game in certain situations. 1 copy of Elemental Hero Malicious Bane rounds us off for our standard fusions in this extra deck. Of course, this is again here for nuking board when we're going second, I guess. And then we go into the Masked Heroes. So for our Darks, we're playing 2 copies of Dark Lore, as well as 1 copy of Master Hero Anki. This is just here for pushing game. It's just like your standard Mask Change combo, standard dueling stuff. And then our other Masked Heroes, so we've got 1 copy of Acid for the back row, 1 copy of Blast, and then we've got 1 copy of Diane. This actually comes up really, really well with the 1 copy of Solid Man. You can combo off really, really hard with it. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, do make sure to comment them down below. What would you like a hero support card to say it negates? Because I would like it to say a lot. But that will be it for the deck profile. As always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.